So just to reiterate, so up until now, we've just been create, read, update, delete, creating a list view, creating a detailed page, creating like a form page where you can edit, update, delete, and then, just that whole process, just been creating basic CRUD apps in Django. But we haven't been creating any authentication, like logging in users, creating users, any of that. But with Django being such a robust framework and very opinionated on how they do things, Django does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. So like you all were exposed to the admin panel yesterday too as well, right? Yep. So Django already has an entire admin panel built in to all your applications. So because Django being a framework and the developers of it think, hey, there should probably already be an admin, or every application should have an admin dashboard to it. So Django already has that kind of built in. The same thing with authentication. Django does a lot of the heavy lifting for us, so we don't actually have to do any we don't have to create authentication from scratch. Django already has that built in for us if we want to use it. So in this lecture, we're just going to walk through the Django authentication process and all like the built-in ways to authenticate. And we're going to create a login page and a sign-up page. I think that's it. Yeah. A login page and a sign-up page within our Django project.
I have a question.
Yep.
So, because Django is like this huge, really big thing that probably a lot of people put a lot of hours into, how do they monetize it somehow, or how does that work?
I actually don't know. I think it's just all open source. Yeah.
I know there's a lot of big corporations and companies that have like big grants for third-party open source stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably just self-funded, or who said that? Was that Dylan, or is that
Andrew?
Andrew, yeah. So people probably donate to it a lot. I'm sure there's somewhere that you can actually donate to Django. So yeah. So we're going to create a Django app from scratch. So I'm right here in my Django auth directory. So what's the first thing I need to do to create a Django app? Lou, what's like the first thing I should probably do?
First thing I would do is I would go into an environment.
So create a virtual environment. So Python make venv. I'm going to call this virtual environment venv. And right there, we've got our virtual environment. And now we can go into our virtual environment. Justin, what's the command to go into my virtual environment? Oh, sorry. Or Jason. Why did I say Justin? Sorry.
Source space, the name of your virtual environment, /bin/activate.
Source bin.
The name of your virtual environment,
bin
and then
bin/activate.
Yep.
All right. So right now I'm currently in my virtual environment. All right, Jarrell, what's the next thing I need to do once I'm in my virtual environment? And I'm creating a Django app from scratch.
Well, you need a project first, no?
So I need to create a project folder.
Yes.
So how do I create a project?
You can do Django admin start project, and then whatever you want your project name to be.
Let's just call it my project. Oh, so Django admin start project worked. If I pip list, so I think Django admin start project worked, because I probably have it installed globally. All right, so I created a Django project right here. Right. I think I skipped a step
Wait, why did it actually work?
because I think it's installed globally on my computer. Oh, yeah. That's a good question. Django version. Does anybody know how to? I checked the Django version
Can you see it in pip list?
pip list, so it's not in there.
So
Do Python, tech,
Django and then
Django,
dash
dash
version.
So Python. Say that again.
Python, tac M, Django, dash version,
Dash version. No name Django.
lowercase Django.
No Django.
What if you exit out of the virtual environment temporarily and PIP list there?
Pip list. It's gonna be a lot, and I do have. Pretty sure I have Django. Yeah.
Is it not showing up because it wasn't specifically installed inside the virtual environment?
That could be it. So if I could do Python make Django dash version. Huh. Yeah, I'm just messing around right now. So it's 2.1. So that's the Django version that's installed globally on my machine. That's probably why. But I just want to check something real quick. Yeah, that's exactly why. Because this is I just can tell by the settings file that this is Django 2. Whatever. So I'm actually going to delete that Django because I don't want to use the Django 2.1. I want to use the most recent version of Django. So I'm going to go back into my virtual environment and list. I'm going to pip list again just to make sure. All right. So I was able to install Django because I'm guessing it's because it's installed globally, but it installed the Django 2.1 version. But I think we're on Django 3.1 now. Yeah, like 3.1. Yeah. And that's the version I want to install. So I'm in my virtual environment and I need to create a Django project. So the first thing I need to do is pip install Django.
When you are putting this on the internet, how does like your website know what things you needs to be installed?
So when you like put it up on a server like GitHub or AWS, so you'll have that requirements.txt file, and then when you push it up to the server and run some commands, it will install everything that's in your requirements.txt file, just like you are doing it here locally.
Oh, okay. So you're just installing the same things onto the server.
Yep. So pip list. All right, there's my Django. See, I'm at 3.13, but if I deactivate and I do deactivate and do, what is it? Python make Django dash version, I get 2.15. But in my newest, in this project, I want it in 3.13. So source venv, then activate. Now if I do Python dash make Django dash version, I get the 3.13. Cool. So I think you said I need to create a Django project. So I can do Django admin. Is it start project? Project. I'll just call it my project. And there's my project. Yep, I can tell right now. All right. So we got our manage.py file. We have our Django project. We have our URLs. I'm just going to delete this stuff right here. We have our Django admin panel kind of right here. We have our settings and all of that. So, as I mentioned before, Django, let me pull up something new. Oh, open up a new window. Try like Django authentication URLs. Where is it? Django.control. So Django has, as I mentioned, Django has built-in authentication capabilities already. So Django already has, look at Django provides several views that you can use for handling login, logout, and password management. So that's like making reset passwords and all the basic functionality to handle authentication. So in order to use these built-in views in our Django project, all we have to do is use this and put this in our URLs, and it gives us access to all of this, all these routes. So I'm going to just copy this over right here, and I also need to import include, I believe. Yep, that looks right. So in our settings file, notice how we have Django contrib auth as an application like that already comes with. This is what we're accessing for our authentication views or our authentication capability. So that gives us access to all of these routes. So literally just typing this / or accounts, and I'm including the Django auth URLs, it gives us access to all these routes. The accounts login with a name, route of login, accounts logout with the name, route of logout, change password done, reset password done, authentication tokens. So like confirming your reset password. This is what gives us, this is what we have access to just with this one line of code.
Those are URLs you can put in your app project, or you said it gives us access to all the URLs. Do those don't go in your global URLs.py right here? They go in your app URLs.py?
So we don't actually have to make these. These already this is already comes with it.
Oh, so you can just type that URL in, it's already there.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So I'm just going to list everything, clear it. I'm going to CD into my project, list everything down, and there I'm in manage.py, my project. So when we're dealing with authentication, we're not authenticating just the app. We're authenticating for the entire project. So on the same level as my manage.py file, I can create my templates for logging in, logging out, signing up, all of that. So we're not creating a separate app for our authentication views. So I'm in my project. I'm on the same level of manage.py. And now, just like you would create templates for an app, you're going to create templates for your project. So I'm going to create a templates. So make directory templates. So I created a templates directory. And inside of my templates directory, I'm going to create a registration directory. And now inside my registration, I'm going to create a login. So HTML login.html. And in here, I'm going to, just create a simple login form, h2 login. I'm going to create a form with a method of post, and I need my CSRF token for the post. And then at some point, in my view, I'm going to create a form template. Form as P, or I'm going to create just like a form for my button. I'm going to say type, it's a submit button. And this is, again, logging in. So it's going to say login.
Quick question, Tom.
Yep.
With method post, is that case insensitive? The post?
Yeah, I think it can be that as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So in my URLs, I added this, the authentication URLs that comes built into Django. So if I go to accounts/login, log out, all these, this already comes with just this line of code. So I'm going to create a login to actually a form for this, say, login page. But before I do that, for my app, when we were creating apps and we were able to load templates into our app, they just kind of worked. So like the project already knew where the templates were located at. For here, I need to redirect where I want the main directory of our app or of our templates are. So I need to add where in the Django project, where do I want to load my templates for the project? And we're not using an app right now. We're just going to be using, because we're still in our base project. We're not in an app yet. So for our project's templates, we have templates, registration, and that's in here we have our login. So I need to tell Django project, hey, where are the templates located at? And up here, this builds file paths inside the project, like base directory, subdirectory. So I need to go to the base directory of my project. So inside this templates section, this dirs for directories, and I want to go to /templates. And that points us to right here. At the very end of the project, in the settings, there's a constant variable called login redirect URL. So in my project, after I log in, where do I want to be redirected? And I currently just want to be redirected to the home page. So what questions do you have so far about the authentication URLs, what we have access to, and then the templates?
What we have access to, that's like privileges for the user.
Say that one more time.
Line 10 through 17. So this is like the features available to the user.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So if I go to like account/login, it should already have some login, a route, a password change route, etc.
Roger that. Thank you.
Yep. All right. which way do I want to go with from here? So I'm just going to do Python manage.py. So I haven't created an app yet, so I don't need to make migrations or anything like that. I just want to migrate the existing apps tables. So I just can do Python manage.py migrate. So it just applied all these initial tables. So now I've got this login form. I told the Django project, hey, where do I want to look at where my templates are at currently for just my registration? So where the templates are located at. And now, where am I looking at?
Hey, Tom.
Yep.
So when you did the migrate, created a SQLite database for you. If we were using Postgres, we would have to create a database. And when we run migrate, it would create all the authorization tables for us, correct?
Correct. So if we use
Okay.
a Postgres database, I just pretty much reassign this to PostgreSQL and then just the name of my database. And again, just run migrate and it would just create all these tables for our Postgres database.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So I just want to look at something real quick. So if I go to accounts, so now I'm just going to clear this. I'm going to start my server and see what happens. Python manage.py. What's the command to start a server?
Run server, all one word.
Run server. Oh, that's. Uh-oh, it says that port is already in use. Let's try this again. All right, here we go. Localhost 8000. I've got that. I've got admin. So there's my admin. I have my accounts / login. So I already have that login right there. Let's see. So if I log in right now, say like TA Preet 123, says please enter correct name, password. Note that both fields may be case insensitive. So right now, want to, I don't know if I should create a super user or create a base template. So yeah, the first thing I want to do is create some base templates for within my template. So all right. So I've got my login page and I've got my templates, but I don't have a base template. So I'm going to clear that. And inside my templates, I'm going to create should I create? A base.html template. And I don't want to be in the registration directory when I create my base template or my homepage template. So the registration directory is specifically for logging in and signing up. Any other templates that aren't related to that are going to just be located within the templates directory. So not within the registrations directory.
And does that
Does that go
affect
for
how
all
you
sorry.
write? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Does that affect how you write the URL path?
It won't affect how I write the URL path, no. So like in here? Is that what you mean?
Or say if you wanted to like how we would link things, make links in our other HTMLs. So if we wanted to link from like registration or I don't know, like log in to create account or something?
No, so are you talking about where we locate our templates at?
Correct. Yeah.
No, it won't affect how we link our URLs together at all. Did someone else have another question? Was that James?
Oh yeah, I was just going to ask if your templates directory, is that true for all templates? So like for instance, our project last night, we had templates, and then it would be in inside another folder, like the name of our app, like events, and then it would be in, we'd have all our templates in there. Can you just drop your home and your base and the templates directory from now on, or
Yeah, you probably can from now on, but this is specifically for registration or like authentication. You can put in like your base templates for like your home page in this templates folder, or you can just keep them in your app templates folder.
Okay.
But for this specific tutorial, since we're not developing an app with templates, all our templates are at the Django project level. Our home and our base are going to be located within the templates and not within the registration portion. So in our base template, let's do just, doc type. Oh, doc type. Let's do HTML. And then, actually, I'm just going to do HTML like so. Get rid of that. Do I need style sheets? I don't need any of that right now. But in our title, we can extend, just like we're extending our templates, we can also extend different parts of our application. You know how we had block content yesterday, and then anything within those block content? We can also extend like our title to be different on different pages. So I'm going to do block title and just do Django auth authentication. Yeah, tutorial. And then here we can do end block. End block. I think I also need here. So there's the block title, and then inside of our body, just kind of like how we were doing this yesterday, we can say here is going to be our block content of other templates. Then we can do end block, end block. All right, let's see if this works. All right, we have our base, and now, so our localhost accounts login. But when I go here, oops. Usually, like up until yesterday, or we were going to like our app name, like I don't know, polls or events to get into our app. But usually when you go to first visit a web page, you visit a home page. You don't with like nothing after the URL. In here, we're going to want to render a home page. And so inside of a register, or not inside of a registration, inside of our templates, we're going to create a home.html. And we're going to extend our base template at the very top. So extends base.html. And then inside our block for our title, let's do, is it block title equals, say, homepage. And then end block And then for the block content, and we also have to have an end block, end block. So in our homepage, we want our homepage to be dynamic. So just like when you visit, say, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, if you're logged in, it's going to display specific information depending on whether or not you're logged in. So if you're logged in, it'll probably show you like the news feed or Twitter feed or Instagram feed or whatever. But if you're not logged in, it might not show anything. It might just show like the login page. It might show something else. But essentially, if you're logged in, it'll show something. But if you're not logged in, it'll show something else. So inside of our block content, we can say, hey, we can do some conditional like if user.is authenticated, display something, else display something else. And then we can do like, what is it, end if. So this is authenticated is like an attribute. They're like built in. So if I say like is authenticated Django, oh geez, is authenticated. So this is like an attribute. You can say, hey, whether or not the user is authenticated, it'll return true or false. So if the user is authenticated, I can say let's h1 hi user.username, else and say you are not logged in, and then maybe like a URL to the login page.
I have a question, Tom. How is the user object getting passed to a user variable here?
We're gonna have to pass it in a form, or not in a form, but in a template somehow. So when we, you know how before we're rendering a template and then like passing data in, we're gonna have to do that here somehow. But we haven't gotten there yet.
Hey, Tom.
Yep.
Little follow. So I'm still a little confused on the, we're doing authentication at the project level right now.
Yep.
When we create an app, when we want to only authenticate to our app, what's going to change?
What do you mean you're going to only want to authenticate to your
Well,
app?
is this the way authentication is always done? Even so, if you do a Django admin start app, right? And now we have a project directory and an applications directory. Like you can have templates and things inside your applications directory as well.
Yep.
So none of the registration stuff is going to go inside of your application. It's all going to go inside your project level templates.
Correct, right here, yeah. So all your templates that are associated with your app could remain in your app templates. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. All right. So events, polls. So what we did, we created a login page in our registration. We created a base template and a home page. So if I come over here and I just click enter, so it's still nothing's happening. Clear. Run server. I click there and nothing's happening. And if I go over to my URLs, there isn't a route that is utilizing this. Like if I do path / like include something like I like it should include some like views dot home page or something like that. Like name equals home page. Let's just call it home actually. So it says like, all right, name error, views is not defined. Okay. So I'm going to kind of show you how to create this home thing and then like extract it into like a one-liner. So if I clear this, I'm going to create an app called accounts. So right now, I haven't created an app yet, but I'm going to create an app called accounts and create a view, a home method that renders this home, a home template that renders this home template. So, all right. So I'm going to create an app called, what is it? Python manage.py start app accounts. So I created an accounts app because I need to create some views to render some information or render some templates. So I'm going to come over here into my settings file and I'm going to add the accounts there. And then let's see. How do I want to do this? Views. And right here, get rid of that, get rid of the settings here. So in my accounts views, I want to render a home template. So I can say def home takes in a request, and I want to return render the request and the home.html. And usually you want to pass in some data into your template, but for this purpose, because I'm only rendering the home page, I don't need to pass in any data right now. So in that view, in my accounts, there, and then in my URLs in my project, I need to import the views from my app. So I can say, where is it? From accounts, so from the accounts app, import views. So from the accounts app here, import the views. And now in my views, I can say, hey, when I go to just / I'm going to render this views home method that takes in the request and renders the home template. And right now it's not passing anything in. Oh, crap. What did I just do? All right. So now I'm going to actually clear the screen and try to run my server and see if this works. So if I go here, it says block tag takes only one argument. Django tutorial. So it looks like I broke something here. So in my templates, base template, see if that worked. There we go. So see how I'm not going to like accounts or anything like that. I'm literally just going to the home page. I'm rendering my home page. It says you are not logged in, and it provides me a link to the login page. So it comes into here. It says, hey, if user is authenticated, display hi username, else display you are not logged in with a link to the login page. And this is my home page. What questions do you have?
Why why do you want this in a separate app rather than just keeping it inside of your main project?
You'll see me extract everything. I just kind of want to show you kind of like the process of like creating your views in your app views, because this is how we've been doing it right before. And I'm going to kind of show you how to, one, you create a template view or a class-based view, and then extract this out into just my URLs. Before I do that, let's go ahead and take a 6-minute break and be back at 10:40.